My name is Zeff, the protector of Barghthorn, a small whaling village on an island off the coast. I lived my life as anyone should. I cared for my friends, loved my family, forgave my rivals, and built a home to be proud of, a home worth protecting. One day, when I was out whaling, the weather was foul, and the gods' whims must have been wrathful that day, for they sent a wave, bigger than the tallest mountain on Barghthorn, straight towards the tiny island, to seemingly wipe it off the face of existence. In an act of desperation, I turned my small boat and headed straight on for the wave. I wasn't driven by rage, or the lust for glory, or the pride of trying to best a divine being's whim. I was driven by the deepest feeling someone could have. Love. Love for my home. Those rivals I forgave. The friends I cherished, and the family I raised, for they all would surely perish under this Armageddon. So I gripped my harpoon, and I sailed directly into this beast of a wave, and gave up everything I am to protect this beautiful, insignificant village. I gave up my body, and the strength that I built my home with. And I gave up the memories of my life, my friends, my family. They all became strangers passing in my dreams. I gave up everything, down to my soul, and to spare this island, and to stop that beast from taking it away. And now, as the shepherdess takes me, I can only hope that my sacrifice is enough for the unfeeling gods to notice and spare this small village, this small, insignificant village. My name is Zeff. I am a mortal, and I am no more.
The rebel child Sindar sought to control and shape the primal passion that flowed throughout the universe. The other gods had no control over this passion and its overwhelming force, leading to many godly disputes. So, Sindar took this passion, shaped it into emotion, and created her son to rule over them. He was called Nevrik. Sindar charged Nevrik with the power of passion, separating it into 5 base emotions: love, fear, anger, joy, and sadness. Each of these emotions were tied to 5 elements: the immovable earth, the flowing water, the burning fire, the fleeting air, and the striking lightning. Each of these elements came together to form Nevrik's home, the catalyst of all emotion. And Nevrik was the key to unlocking all incorporeal sensation in the universe.
And so came midnight, lost in the stars of the fallen people of his world. As a mortal, Midnight was around in the early ages of his land, and was a part of the few that were at the beginning. Midnight's parents were the first to die, leaving Midnight in a state that would lead him to godship, the exploration of death, hoping that he could see his parents again, while also to be the god that understood what took his parents from him. Death itself. Midnight is there to research, study, and ponder what the moment of death will bring to everyone. A worker with all the gods, but closely with Ishtava, leading you through the moment of death and handing you off to Ishtava for the afterlife. On the journey of life, midnight comes when you least expect it. It watches how you make every decision to your last breath. Looking over every soul that reaches death, midnight takes a moment to care for what you have done, what choices you have made, and what has brought you to your final breath. And with that final breath of life you take, midnight will come.
During the birth of Regulus, Uro created with it a messenger, who would meet with the Crucible and assist them with the maintenance of this blossoming new reality. I am Ünen, herald of Uro, and god of force. In the beginning my work was primarily with Kirin, assisting with the creation of the elves. Since then, I have continued my mission to help this universe grow, and help the gods as they govern it, forever maintaining the vision that Uro had for his creation, and serving as linchpin for the forces of nature in order to maintain equilibrium.
Welcome. Don't be afraid. There's no reason to be. Let me start with telling you a story. Maybe that would make you more comfortable. But please, you're safe. This story is about the first person who died. So, when the first mortal perished, no place had yet to be created for the dead, except for the god sleep. This mortal came to the sepulchre of the gods alone and with no means to return to the worlds of the living. It was not a place for them. Yet, unfortunately, they were there because there was no other place for them to go. Fearing an eternity of nothingness, or worse, being discovered by a not-so-forgiving god, the mortal tore into the ether, desperate to escape. The ether tore back, filling the mortal with the vast potential that Uro gave existence. All that was before, and all that would come to be, ripped through the very essence of the mortal's mind and body. But the mortal's will was strong. So strong that once soul and vessel had been consumed by the void, their will remained. From the ether, something began to stitch itself together. The very fabric of the universe, combined with the mortal will to endure, weaved a new being. A friendly face to meet at the edge of eternity. A shepherd to guide souls from what was to what will be. The new god, imbued with the spark the mortal left behind, fashioned a name for themselves. Ishtava. Ishtava carved out a piece of the god's sleep for the perished mortals, for you. Ishtava made it for them to come for a final rest, or to be reborn into the next cycle. And while this creation seems very mystical, some focus on the peace and the comfort the god of the afterlife provides. Others fear the great unknown, which I don't blame them. Unknowns are scary, but a very select few believe there might just be something more to be discovered, even beyond the veil. Maybe one day we'll find out. Welcome to the afterlife. My name is Ystävä.
At the beginning, there was only the void, thought birth, dark drinker, the heart of all magic. It was itself, the expanse of shifting emptiness, simply the before. Centered around this sliver, a fragment of existence itself, the void was everything and nothing, alive, dead, and dreaming, all at once. Then, for seemingly no reason, and yet for every reason, something spawned from the dream of the void. It was a sentient orb of glittering light, energy, and brilliance. Uro, infinite unbound, was born, and simultaneously so too did the essence of the void fold in on itself, imploding, leaving only its dormant shell, the expanse of space itself, visible to its new creation. At the moment of its birth, Uro is said to have had every thought that would ever be had all at once. And once it thought of everything, it became bored by what it found. It decided to change everything by imprinting upon existence its own grand design. Uro channeled all the energy of the infinite nothingness and effectively divided itself in half. One half remained pure, floating, sentient energy, but multiplied in size exponentially. It began to accrue its own gravitational pull, drawing in debris and matter from the corpse of the void, beginning what would later be called a planet. Uro's second half became La, the potter, sculptor of the gods. As Uro sealed its remaining self inside the ball of energy and hardening magma, it spoke to its only daughter thus.
You are La, that which shapes the formless, and from your shapes must come my legacy. With my soul, you will work wonders.
And La, duty-bound, worked wonders. In the first star, made in her afterbirth, she formed a fortress, her home and the home of gods to come, named the Hearth. And in the hearth she built a great wheel, like those we spin our clay upon, but great La, upon it she spun all that is. From the heat and the flame of the hearth itself she sculpted her sons. First came Dami Ino, hammer of the gods, and without intending to, La gave life to the cold space left in the wake of Dami Ino's creation, giving him a brother, Vaikstar, the
dark between stars. And so came to be the Brothers Celestial. Dami Ino hammered the myriad stars into light and life, while Vaikstar carved roads between them, linking them together in the bleak quiet. But soon the brothers began to bicker and spat, and their fights would rumble the heavens, and the ball of rock and ambition would seethe, so La would answer. To find balance between their squabbles, La sculpted Aldwin, the Scales Overseer. And as he was built to do, Aldwin stopped the arguments he could before they were even to happen, and the ones that went too far he cleaved in twain with word and might. And for a time, things were quiet. But like her ancestor, even in slumber and respite, La was at work. Her dreams were filled with exploration and passion and movement and life, though life, as we know it, did not yet exist. And her dreams gathered at the wheel all the starfire and the solar winds, and the humming of tectonic plates of the burgeoning planet below, and the liquid ichor that flowed in all of La's children. And from this gathering came Sindar, all that moves, elementalist. Sindar was the rebel child. She did as she pleased, and she in turn pleased very few, but was respected and feared by all, as she built a world for all the elements to flow through at once. In their unity, this family of 5 turned to the now gargantuan ball of elemental fury beneath them, and feeling Uro's will surging through them all, they began to act. Drawing power from the new-birthed planes across the multiverse, these gods imbued the planet with life. The flora thrummed with diluted ichor, which would soon become water and fill. From the flora would come small moving things that would drink of the ichor and change and grow apart over and over and over. Each creature and thing on this planet has a story and a path that leads back to these gods, or the gods to come. But those are stories for other days. When at last the work was done, and the planet was filled, but filled too with chaos, the first family became overwrought. They needed someone to help keep track of all that had come before, and all that was to come, so La spun the wheel one last time, and from this finality sprung Kirahan, archivist of memory. Kirahan was the first of this family, the Crucible, to inhabit the planet and walk it themselves, sheltering under the massive tree formed when they first touched the soil. With this last work done, these gods, this Crucible, looked upon the teeming globe beneath them, and through their ichor heard Uro speak once more.
Witness, Regolus. 'Tis mine, and mine alone, but those who writhe upon it are yours, and yours henceforth. Do what you must, please me, and inasmuch serve yourselves.
And it is here where things begin to unfold which neither Uro nor any of the Crucible could ever expect. A second branch of their family was about to grow and take root, and it is here, with these new gods, that our story will begin.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. Welcome back, my friends, to another weekly episode of Bards of New York. It's been a funky week here in New York City to play weatherman for a bit. The world doesn't seem to really know where it's at. But I'm happy to be back. Happy to dive into what is no doubt going to be a little bit of nonsense right in the beginning, but we'll get to that in a moment. Before we get much further this fine evening, Hannah, do you have anything fun to tell us today?
We're hoping to get some new sexy backgrounds by the end of the month.
Yeah.
So that should be coming down the chute If you feel like helping us out monetarily, we'd love it. We have a tipping thing down there in our bio, or subscriptions. And if you can't help us out monetarily, spread the word. That really helps us out. Or give us a review on Apple Podcasts. But hopefully we get some nice looking backdrops soon.
It's also like just a tip.
Yeah, show us your tips.
What a great start today. What
That's
a
all I have.
fantastic
Turn the chaos off right.
start. Great. Well, that's the whole idea is upgrades, right? Onward and upward.
Only if you pay.
And we're still functionally in the in-person, like the tail end of the in-person beta test of Bards of New York, really. Sometimes it's easy to forget how long we were doing virtual for and how recently we've actually been doing this version of it. It was only, a couple sessions of...
In December or something like that.
So we're still getting our sea legs, but I think phase 1 is coming to a close, and this is sort of the beginning of the heralding of that, right? The tweaking our surroundings. But just for the usual weekly plugs here. First of all, if you haven't, especially with this in mind as we sort of structure our goals and what we're looking to do and improve, do join our Discord. It's the best way to chat with us and just have input and get more Bards content throughout the week, while also just having a nice little hub to chill and chat about whatever you feel like on our general discussion. It really is quite the open forum. Again, huge thanks to a couple of our community members, Pallywags, for the fabulous, fabulous layout, as continually doctored by our own Hannah Minshew here. And then the Vic Straws of Top Down Tabletop for these really astonishing character art. The more I look at them, the more I see them and think about them, the more ideas they actually give me for the campaign. That was something I thought of, had a moment with them today that made me think of something. So again, thanks to Vix for that really outstanding work. But before too long, it's now time. Let me just make sure I have my who's who. Yeah, it is now time for our weekly tarot card pull to continue. Let me just get these shuffled with Hannah here. Pick a card, any card. What do you feel today?
What do I feel?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm running on caffeine and prayers.
Aren't we all?
The sun.
The sun. What a
of
glorious, glorious card. I mean, it means like certainty and lighting the path and whatever an emotional beacon means for you. Center yourself.
This is
Great
when we
way to
TPK.
think about that. Right. Yeah, apparently that's what you've said for every single card I've pulled.
Yeah, and those are all the bad ones.
No, well, no.
And
No.
this one's a good one.
Well, the worst one was gone quite a while ago, so we're okay.
What
for
was
now.
that?
Well, actually, that was before. It's
when,
still
There's
yeah.
like the tower.
Leonidas
yeah.
went bye-bye.
Yeah.
Leonidas pulled the tower and died. Oops.
Hashtag justice for Leonidas.
Justice for Leonidas. The Sun. What an excellent card. Only positive. The Sun. That's a great way a positive force. A centering positive force. So, with the sun in mind, hanging over our heads and sort of walking and wandering inside the sun for us here, the camera will pan back down on the world and surrounding realms of Regulus Prime. And last we saw our new gods here, the three of you had returned from a rather eventful excursion to Regulus to do a great many things, mostly started by Kirahan, but in particular here, the quelling of the flame of a flame given form, and the almost indoctrinating of a nearby elven settlement, Helithan. You returned, and it seemed that Ishtava had returned deeper into the hearth and went actually back to her prime domain, leaving Nevrik and Ünen to wander the hearth. And a couple things really took place. You were briefly interrogated by Mother La, the Potter, about some spark of divinity off in a forest she couldn't reach, basically beyond her sight, that she was blaming you for. And while, I wouldn't necessarily say your innocence was proven, she was quelled at least and asked you to deal with it, figure it out, given that she still kind of thinks you started it. You then both went and visited one of the two brothers Celestial, the older brother, Dami Ino, in Sunforge, in his prime domain, and each crafted you got to know him a little better. You got to know what ether is and how ether works, and then you each made yourself a myth, with Nevrik crafting these raiments of passion that allow you to channel your power sort of protectively around yourself, and tentatively named the ties that bind, this flail of magnetic force for Ünen here. You've made those. You were then given some information on how to improve things that you craft with ether, whether it be, clothing, items, or even concepts, how one could forge a concept and improve it. And then you both ventured down briefly into Nevrik's prime domain. You allowed yourself to try and connect to the source of that crystalline red eye, before both of you ventured down to knock cosmically on Ishtava's door, the door of Ishtava's prime domain. So as that's where we leave you, we're going to rewind the clock just a bit. And of course, time is sort of wibbly-wobbly time. Hello! Welcome to another episode of Bards of
Ace Ventura.
So, right, with your knocking on the door, we're going to rewind a little bit, understanding that time sort of is processed a little differently within the heart and the prime domains, to Ystävä here. And, your perspective on things, having left Helathen, using the world beacon to travel up through and into the hearth with 30 years passing beneath you, and recongealing into a single solid planeswalking form within your prime domain, this sort of twilight space. What's your passive perception?
It's pretty good.
Actually, no, I'm not proficient in it, so it's 10 plus my... I always forget. Yeah, it's 16.
16? Great,
Yeah.
okay. So two things you notice off the bat. First, the more obvious of the two, is there's something slightly brighter about the whole realm. Not like glowing or sunlit, but as if, you were walking at night and your eyes were particularly adjusted and the stars were really out that night or something, right? Like a particularly bright night. Just shades have twinged upwards a little bit since the last time you were in here, not so long ago. But with a 16 on passive and it being your innate prime domain here, you do notice the one bigger thing. There is an additional door that was not there before. And it is marked specifically, I'm not sure if you have decided how the others are marked already, but this one, almost floating or hanging just above the door as if it was part of an otherwise invisible door frame, is a small statue. A bust of a sort of, it's completely featureless, all made out of white marble, silvery white marble. This weird, contrapposto figure with very long, angular, limbs. And the only piece of decoration on this bust above the door is a glittering line, a circlet of silver light around the head.
Oops. Oh.
So, and that adorns this new door in your realm.
Ooh. Alright, is there anything pressing that I must take care of? Or can I go to the door?
I mean, nothing necessarily pressing. That it's just the same as you would otherwise expect it to be. A lot things milling and seething in the courtyard, the twilight courtyard of this realm, sort of wandering to and from doors. Some just lingering in place around that sort of structure in the center. Was it a tree?
I imagine it's like, so it's we're in the tree, yes, and then like there's a central kind of yo dog, I heard you like trees, so I put a tree inside your tree. It's like a central tree.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
And there's like a little fountain around it somehow.
Okay.
And like there's water coming out of the
kind
tree, and you can sit along around the
Yeah,
fountain.
the fountain is like maybe part of the tree, maybe not,
Exactly,
right? Like, yeah.
If you took off the top,
I can
would
hear the
there be
inception
another little
horns.
tree? Is it a nesting doll
You'll have
tree?
to find out.
I literally
Let's
can
see.
hear Hans Zimmer orchestrating the soundtrack to this prime domain. I mean, there are a couple of people sort of lingering around that fountain, the central fountain, and Krana is at the moment dancing about and above the top of the like open canopy of the realm. Sort of, moon still hanging in between those crystalline anglers, running away. Would I say there's anything pressing that you can feel happening in this space now? No.
I'm going to go to the door and I'm going to open it.
Okay. You crack open the door, the new door with the statue there, and it is not really populated. The space that you open into, there's no one that you can see here. It's basically a sort of small little, seeming like mountain slope field, except the sky is like this almost burgeoned purple, and the ground is mostly silver grass.
Can I sense that this would be where, this is what I am deducing thus far.
Okay.
That this is where the heroes and people I have blessed come and reside? Or is this not that? Is it
roll me
something
an Ishtava
more?
check.
Ystävä.
That's not a D. Oh, there's a D20. Okay. Oh, even worse. Okay, that is a 20. Dirty 20.
A dirty 20. You can feel that this space is reserved for, at the moment, again, none of this is always and forever set in stone. It seems like this space has been shaped, as most things do connected to the gods are, by belief itself. By the belief that it is there, so it is. It seems created and reserved for those who are linked to your energy or power. One way or another.
Oh. It's for my cult. Oh. Excellent.
If there are any other specific qualifiers for this space, you don't necessarily can't reach them or grasp them yet. And there isn't anyone in there now that you can see.
I'm going to create a bird of fire to be like how Krana runs around at the top of the. It isn't necessarily a bird of fire that you can react with. It's more of like a comforting thing.
Literally like sculpting the world,
I'm
right? It like
here.
exists as part of the space. Absolutely.
And I let it loose into this door.
That door, yeah, you literally just like sculpt part of your own energy, pulling from the fragments of energetic consciousness of your own that exists everywhere. You just form it into this, albatross-sized, give or take a little, bird of literal flame that, despite its heat and, flickering embers that make up its body, it's very calm. It's quite still, quite stoic, sort of looking around for a moment, meeting your gaze, almost there just being a resonance there, before it, in a couple of huge wing beats, just takes off, spins on itself, and soars into the purple sky, almost like a comet trailing.
When people are near this bird, or like see it even in this space, it is the same feeling that you get when you are next to a fireplace. And it's on a cold day, and it feels like the most comforting, enveloping
right,
thing.
the heat that you need. The one that you were seeking for. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so
You can name it Hearth.
Hearth. Welcome to Hearth.
Not what I meant.
Don't
But very
know
funny.
what to say about that.
I think about
Welcome
that
to
scene
Hearth.
too much. I don't know why.
Yeah, so
It's
this thing
amazing.
exists and, is a more now well solidified facet of your consciousness. And if you're ever looking to sort of scry through it, I think that's a reasonable thing. But there may be certain concentration checks that would be needed to maintain or tap into that kind of connection.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so this firebird soars off into this new particular door. And I'll standing in the threshold of this space as well, I will have you first roll me a wisdom saving throw. This isn't the scary kind of save.
That is a lot.
Big number.
Yeah, it's 16 plus 13.
Oh, 29. Really chill.
Yeah.
Super chill. Yeah, so you can feel, not only because you are now still within the confines of your prime domain at your peak anyway, but you can feel a swell in almost your confidence and your self-centered strength. That's like there is something tethering from an outside source to you that is somehow bolstering you while almost pulling parts of your essence in exchange.
I like this feeling. This is good. My work is beginning to take hold.
My work is beginning to take hold. The only thing I would ask you at this particular juncture, if you can feel this sort of weird cycle. Given that your consciousness is attuned to it for this one moment, while specifically on the threshold of this exact space, the only way I'll be able to describe this is, it feels like you might, in this moment, have access to a spiritual valve. Would you like to open the valve? Would you like to keep it where it currently is, sort of within your consciousness, or tighten it?
Just want like a taste. Just like a tsk, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just sort of
just to like break me off a piece.
Yeah, like
millions of souls
yeah.
die instantly.
You sort of take a breath in, engaging with the space in front of you. You can see the firebird soaring in now, and focus on that tether leading elsewhere and cycling from elsewhere. And you just slightly lean into it for a moment. You can see the silver grass grow brighter and wave a little bit, and you can also feel your own power, your own energy and gravity that you take up in the universe expand a little bit. And as you expand, you can feel more of your energy flowing back down the tether elsewhere, almost in response.
Ooh. I open it a little bit more.
Again, that sensation, it flares a little bit, and you like almost feels like you have your third eye, your the top of the head chakra open, and like just like there's an awareness that increases, there's a potency that increases, almost like you're hitting the crest of the wave of Adderall, right? You like feel as a human being like you might be able to fight God a little bit, and again, as you can feel that sort of tide swell into you and cause you to expand again, and that grass almost grow in its place on this hillside, more of your energy floods from you as well. Doesn't make you feel like you are, obviously you're feeling empowered by this, but some part of you is going somewhere else.
It's equivalent exchange, kind of.
A great way to put it. And it doesn't seem like this valve is something that you will perpetually have access to, but in this particular moment, in this space, and with you learning about this space, this valve has revealed itself to you in this moment.
Ooh, this is like a very nice drug. Okay. Yeah. I close the valve, because otherwise I'll stay here forever.
Okay.
And I leave the door and shut it. Not everyone can get into this store. The way at least I've designed the Afterlife so far, and we're still working on it, is that there are some doors that everybody can go through, and there are other doors that not everybody can go through. Like the door to where I reside is only for me,
for you,
unless I allow somebody up there.
Yep. I think, at the very least, the way this door seems to have been designed, even without your contractor's seal of approval on, that works, that checks out, that door only opens for certain people. It seems like it was only opening for certain people anyway. Okay, so with that little, as you close the valve and step away from this moment, you feel like that sort of shift of equivalent exchange feels, for this moment, permanent. You feel different. You feel changed. You feel empowered. You feel sort of charged a little bit. and you also feel like part of you exists more concentratedly elsewhere, and more so than it did moments ago.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else you feel yourself needing to do in your prime domain?
I wanted to create a new door.
Okay, talk to me about that.
This door is going to be like a cerulean blue color that glows. So to immortals and gods and like immortal beings, you can see the color that it glows. To mortals who come there, it just looks like a door.
Great.
This door, it kind of functions like the Mind Bleed.
Okay.
But instead of being able to see like the options that you get at the Mind Bleed, what this allows you is to gaze down into the world of Regulus for a short amount of time. You can't interact, but you can view. It's like looking.
It's like oh man, it's basically the opposite of the river Styx, right? You can. Am I thinking of the right river? Yeah, the one that makes you forget. So instead of like going into this door and forgetting everything, it's going into this door and briefly almost checking back in on the planet. And who is this accessible for?
Right now, everyone.
Right. Okay.
That is, I reserve the right to change that.
Of course, it's your domain. You know. I love that. Okay.
But it can only be for like, you can only be there for a certain amount of time, like a few minutes. Otherwise, you'll melt.
You'll, yeah. Great.
There's a price to pay for being able to gaze back into the mortal world.
Right. You run the risk of losing yourself entirely to check in on what you were, basically, or the world that you were in.
The mirror of Erised.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
The river Lethe.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like Styx is there's a special river, but I was almost certain that Lethe was energy. Okay. Anyway. Great. So you just spend some time there crafting this door. I think some featureless spirits may come gather around you, both to watch what you're doing, but also just like moths to a flame. They just sort of, the more aimless spirits that don't have as much sculpting of who they were, drift to you and just sort of act as like a wake that you walk through. Sort of just clustered around you while you carve this door. Doesn't seem like they're sad or malignant or wanting anything. They just are. They drift. They don't seem like they're going to or from any specific door. They just are the ones that form the majority of the portion of the spirits that are just like aimlessly wandering around the fountain or in about this inner tree courtyard kind of thing. And they surround you as you make this door. Probably some of them, as soon as it's finished, look through the door, open the door, lose themselves into it in moments, just drift away. But you craft it. I'm not even going to make you roll for it because I love this. It's very well thought out and I think it serves quite the purpose here. How many doors is that total now?
So I know that there are more doors, but the defined doors so far are 3.
Okay. Including this one, right?
Yes. I know I want one that allows people to kind of pass on into their next reincarnation, but I have not more specifically crafted that one, so it doesn't exist yet.
Yep. And where does the original door go right now?
The door for the looking glass?
The other one. The first door. Oh, it's your door.
My door?
Yes.
My door is like...
Hodor.
Wait, Hodor. When you like walk through the door from the hearth, there's the tree, and literally on the other side, it's like the central
Got it.
door.
Excellent. And
so if you were to walk in, you wouldn't see that door right at first.
yep, it's blocked by the fountain, basically. Yeah. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure. Great. I'm gonna keep a list of these things. Perfect. You craft this door, it immediately elicits a response. I think some of the more humanoid specters who aren't quite, are just here at the moment, are finding themselves forming a queue, a line already, to gaze into the pool, even as you drift away from it. Krana, again from above, now just like folded up on himself, sort of sat down in midair amidst the upper part of the canopy, just looking down and watching everything.
I wave my hand, and above the door, I inscribe in Celestial, we'll say, like 3 minutes and you're done.
It's like the signs next to hot tubs at hotel pools. Like, to be courteous to other guests.
For the sake of your health.
It's like if you translated all the runes on the door to Moria in Lord of the Rings, and it was like, take off your shoes when you enter, leave them on the left of the doormat.
Don't be a fucking
There's a
animal.
box for the umbrellas.
Yep.
Like, 3 minutes and that's it. Time's up. Move on
out.
to the next guest. I was literally here ready to like type down this
Something great.
prophecy that you were gonna
Nope, 3
elicit.
minutes and you're done.
3 minutes and then get the fuck
I'll
out.
make
I'd
a
like to-
rhyme later.
I'd like to make a connection more to a bowl that you leave out on Halloween with a little sign that says it'll take only
On a
3.
system. Only
Yeah.
take one.
Yeah.
The kid upends the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I hate it and I love it.
Oh, funny.
Okay. As you're inscribing with Krana on looking, you can hear, almost feel, sort of like a vibration in the air, rippling as if the air was water. This like whomp, whomp, whomp. This rhythmic sort of pulse and vibration. And it ripples almost from one specific spot behind the front door into the domain. The sort of light, the purple nebula light around the door like flashes with these like bomb, bomb, bomb as the air ripples.
Before I answer the door, telepathically, I say, password.
To the pair of you standing outside, knocking sort of cosmically on Ishtava's glowing door, in both a whisper and a raspy voice that sounds like a grizzled, like old soldier rippling through this room, through the altar hold. Password.
It's us.
I don't answer.
Ünen, do you know any password? Did she?
I don't understand the concept.
It's a word. It's a word. You know, like It's a word of power that allows you entrance into something.
A little voice whispers in Unen's ear, Ishtava is the coolest.
Yep. You heard the whisper.
I think I'm experiencing intrusive thoughts. They are very nice, though. And friendly.
Sounds like an ad for a terrible pharmaceutical.
Ishtava's the coolest.
I've been experiencing, but I think, intrusive thoughts. But I don't mind them.
They seem to be pro my friends. So,
So I'm not gonna argue.
do I need therapy?
So yeah, you hear the voice whispering to you.
A password is a word of power. Soft magic. I attempt to speak a word of power.
Oh, I'm loving this.
Okay.
Do you know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah, I see. What's the... If the word is the cause, what's the effect?
Ooh.
Open.
Cool.
You're gonna break my domain?
Break the door down.
Can you roll me an Ünen check?
Oh shit.
Unen.
So is it? So what do I add? I've not.
So it
Unened
is.
Yet.
It is a roll plus proficiency plus either your spellcasting modifier or the stat that you believe most governs your domain.
Like I do wisdom. If that helps.
Does it have to be a mental stat?
No.
Okay. So I would say Constitution.
This was on Kyle's character sheet. Under background, it just says God.
It's like a Kanye West album description.
Also, lowercase g.
Yeah, literally like...
Because I know my place.
You turn the thing over and it's just like a white CD case and you turn it over and it just says God. Kanye West.
Background, I don't fucking know. Okay,
background, ideals, king shit only.
So, proficiency bonus, and then...
that's so from henceforth the Ünen check is going to be guided by Constitution. And just so we're clear, the Ishtava check is Wisdom.
Wisdom. It's always has
And the
been.
Nevrik check is Intelligence. Okay, that's what I thought.
Which makes it easy because a wizard stuff
Yep.
isn't.
Yep.
Just, yeah.
That's what it is. Constitution makes a lot of sense given your the force and this creative aspect. Go for it. Roll me Ünen check.
Close. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20? Great. So you...
It was almost a natural 20.
That's... Okay. Okay.
Which I think would have broken everything.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
I would have been bunking with you in your domain.
You speak this sound. It's less of a word. It's not a language. It's you basically speak the energetic concept of open. And all... you don't hear this because you are not on this plane. Even though the door is right here, you're not on this plane. But the pair of you hear echoing as if it was as if you were standing in a cave and something happened far down the cave tunnel. The sound of like wet parchment tearing apart.
Ew.
The shredding of soiled parchment, like in one great shear, and it echoes and resounds for a moment. But this door doesn't change.
Yeah. I couldn't make my paper wet. That's not it. Really sexual. I'm sorry.
Did it work? I pushed on the door.
I mean, you touch the door and you can feel your energy interacting with this light, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't respond in any way.
What did you do?
You said that the password is a word of power.
Yeah, but it's a word that a person who's living in such place has to give you.
Why? Go for it, because I'm about to do something different.
I was not given any word.
Could be a sentence. Could be... You ever heard of Open Sesame? Which is something I just made up. Which really...
I love when I create a language on the fly.
I think that the rabbit hole of explaining that might take us far, far away.
I shapeshift into
Oh Lord.
a very handsome-looking gentleman.
Okay.
Dark, like olive skin, black hair.
Yeah.
And because my buddy Midnight wears a suit, I'm also gonna wear a suit.
You're co-opting the three-piece.
Yep.
Great.
And then in my tree within a tree, I'm gonna make like a cute little like place for me to sit, kind of like a throne.
Yeah.
And so I'm staring right at the door, and then I'm gonna wave my hand, and I'm sitting like this.
Do you look like Keanu Reeves as John Wick? You described Keanu Reeves.
I mean,
Keanu
not
Reeves.
white.
I was about to say, you described a long-haired Pedro Pascal as John Wick, is basically what you described.
I look like an olive-skinned rye from Dark Shade of Magic.
I'm there. I'm
That's
right
who I
there,
look
right
like.
there. Giving me Dorian, giving me like great.
Got it.
Okay.
And I wave my hand.
Cosplaying as John Wick.
Yep, cosplaying as John Wick. I'm the Baba Yaga
Yeah.
in so many
great.
different ways.
I'm every...
And I beckon these people in.
So, with this sound, this tearing sound, the two of you speaking after that, the moment of that word of power being spoken, the light solidifies,
like Dorothy in the gang.
solidifies into like a really creaky but polished wooden door from light into this door that swings open into Altarhold, revealing this twilight tree sanctum, within, and this just debonair, suave individual sitting on a throne of stone and branches and the fountain in the center, beckoning you inwards.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does Ishtava's power mask her their divinity from other gods?
No.
Then it's
In
definitely
no way.
So without skipping a beat, Ünen says, Ishtava, where have you been? Here.
Yes.
And
Where have you been?
Many places.
a few. Yeah.
We went to the Starkeep. We were scolded by
Mom.
Law.
Big
And then
Mom.
we went to the Sunforge, which was quite nice.
It was really nice. It was pleasant.
What was Law's problem?
Apparently we've done something again, like created something.
Seemingly it had something to do with the flame monster that we fought
Yes.
in the realm that is parallel with material plane.
Yeah, there's some sort of eerie forest that I saw.
Was Law mad that we slayed this beast?
You know, it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. All she does is speak in riddles and is always menacing to me.
I would say it is likely that she is not mad at a specific occurrence, but more doesn't like it when she thinks others are overstepping her power or creating. I'm surprised she wasn't mad about what you
Krana.
apparently did.
I don't think she knows.
Wait. Mad about Krana or something else? The blessing thing?
Nevrik was told me of a
Oh,
Of
that
a-
she.
town that you went to.
I think our practice there, from what I understood, she said brought more power to the hearth itself, so it wasn't an issue.
So she should be thanking me, really.
I think in general, then it must have been specifically about whatever happened after we defeated that thing.
Okay.
What was it that it said? Father?
Yes.
The daughter is dying and the father is coming.
The daughter unborn dreams of her season, and her father dreams of her.
Yep.
Did I misspeak?
And then I wrote
don't think so.
Omnivar and circled it.
Was that a name?
I also wrote
I don't know.
Omnivar and circled it.
Wait.
The daughter unborn dreams of her season, and the father dreams of her. Omnivar. And I also have circled it. And that's it.
I don't know. Must have been important.
I still haven't figured out what pee-pee pants meant. So.
Fuck you up at night.
I forgot about that.
That's going to be the linchpin of the entire campaign one day. Turns out.
Fuck me.
I challenged someone to
These
go
are the-
back to the first session.
The only notes I have as well. It's that, and then
Big fight.
Omnivar.
also
maybe
level 21.
Maybe y'all misspelled omnivore.
I mean, I remember what it is.
Of course you do. You
But
told us.
I'm enjoying the fact
Well,
that this is how it all
We'll
got
find
translated.
out. I guess we could go watch the tapes.
That is true.
Maybe it was like a name that we like
Who's
kinda
this at?
heard in the wind.
So
You
did Mama Mama
Huh?
Mama Law did she give you a mission of any sort, anything to do, or did she just come to complain and be mad?
She told us that, and we told her that we'd check it out.
Check out the realm that you went to?
The spark that we created.
It's pro-
Apparently.
Does it Do we need to use this, and from some Mary Poppins bag-esque pocket of mine, I pull out the giant crystal from my suit?
That very well may come in handy.
Just like from a pocket, right?
Yep.
Just like,
Inside my jacket.
A couple gold coins fall out. A gun.
If you want to see... If you want to see what I saw, you can come to my room.
Hey, say less.
Oh, okay, this form's doing it for you.
I didn't mean it that way, but I can show you the forest. All of this sounds so wrong.
Yep.
Anyways,
Sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the penis.
Three gods are falling apart, and all these specters that have just like walked to the fountain now, like surrounding this like suited Ishtava, just standing there, with some other like more humanoid spirits wandering and watching from afar, watching these three gods bicker essentially.
I wave my hand, and Hot Topic glitter in a burst makes a cosmopolitan-looking-esque drink in a martini glass appear in my hand.
I want to get the guys who made the Hades video game to animate everything that happens here on the hearth.
most importantly, before we even figure that out, we have to go to the west.
The humans?
The humans.
The humans! They're taking the honey!
Reichstar told us of a chosen few that we have to find.
That's
and
right.
I think that is highest on our priority list.
Now, when I was back down on the hearth, we told Kirahan that we'd meet back up with him. Is that time sensitive or no?
I don't think it is.
Cool. Then let's go.
I would say in general, I care far less about law's concerns, and rather I feel as though we should prioritize what would help the creation. The humans and elfins.
Mm-hmm.
Although if we have created something that could...
I'm speaking freely because we are in your domain.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. I think...
Therefore I am.
that, although either by proxy or directly, she has created us, that she may not like that we're the new flavor in town and we're a little more exciting and creative than she anticipated, and she's trying to control that. That's the vibe I get so far.
I mean, her older children are just as...
Petulant?
And petulant.
Well, I mean, like, Kirahan's one of the youngest, right? And Vikestar and Damiino are young. They're not the youngest, but they're a little emo.
I would assume she dislikes me for a specific reason.
What reason?
I believe she knows that I do not exist under her umbrella of creation.
Whose umbrella of creation do you exist under?
The same one that we all do. Uro's.
So you're saying you're directly from Uro? I don't say that as like I'm doubting. I'm trying to learn.
No, I want to avoid any sense of arrogance. I'm simply saying that the fact that I am not an effect of her cause.
Mm-hmm.
As
There's a problem with that?
Yes.
I can see that. I can see that.
it's the little like, you see that?
When I take my hand away, it just floats
Just
on like
I
a
knew
cloud
it.
of
You didn't even
black
have to
glitter.
tell me. Like it just sits there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so rude. Would you like one of these? You don't have a choice. I wave my hand and black glitter, and you both have a cosmopolitan.
You are now holding glassed beverages that are composed of a combination of Ishtava's magic and pieces of Ishtava's nebulant consciousness.
Interesting.
And cranberry juice.
Yeah, and elderflower liqueur also. I love that the drinks would whisper. I am obsessed with that, and in fact, that's canon now. They don't have mouths or anything, but if you pick up the glass, the first thing you hear is, "How might I taste?"
And I wonder, does the taste change for what's most familiar to us and what we love the most?
No, it tastes like a classic, well-made cosmopolitan.
Actually, that's how taste works anyway.
So, as you're sitting here sipping your Ishtava beverages, your Ishtava cocktails, first of all, before we're too far from this moment, I'm going to need Ünen to roll me a d6.
Uh-oh.
I don't like that.
Actually, d10.
Ooh.
D10 makes it much easier.
Somehow worse. 6.
Okay, give me a second. Give me a second.
I don't like that.
Can you say 6 in Spanish? 6.
Oh! Great, okay.
Oh, no.
You, just standing here.
Drop dead.
Become a black hole.
You shit yourself and die.
Just like...
It's a damn good drink.
Yeah.
And then some like random ass person walks in and is like,
Yeah.
"Hey guys!"
The Ystävä cocktail is exclusively military grade laxatives. So really
The real
nothing
Ünen
else.
shows up.
Shits out.
So you're just standing here and you can hear a sort of distant echo, almost unplaceable. It's hard to. It's an echo that's been so distorted by repetition that you can't even hear what the original sound was anymore. And you can smell fresh cut grass and singed dead leaves, faintly, coming from somewhere else. It's that sensation is there for a moment for you, and it's gone.
So, now that we're all finished talking about our mommy issues, want to go back down?
Before we do, did you
Fuck
want to
around?
do any shopping?
Shopping?
Would you like to go to the Sun
Would you like to go to the
This-
Sunforge?
and have something made for you?
Oh. Yes, I very much would like that. Yes, okay, let's go
Let's
quickly.
take a trip.
And then I want to go see what these humans are all about because I feel like we can get them.
You mean the monkeys, right?
Are they humans? Isn't that what they called them?
Yeah, the monkeys.
Are they... Is that a species?
I just need that differentiation from those in the elven blood.
You've lost me. Well, we'll find out when we get down there, right? Right?
The ones who don't live long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I find it interesting. It seems as though one would think that it is by accident
That they exist or that they don't live long?
that they exist. But I hesitate to think so.
How do you think they came to be?
Necessity?
Could it have something to do with that door that's in the, to the magic?
Very well could.
Wouldn't you know? Isn't that like your whole thing?
What do you mean?
Like facilitating the growth of Regulus?
In more of a helpful way.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I
Well,
don't
if that's the case, then Kirahan should know as well, and he doesn't.
Oh, that's spicy. Okay.
I mean, it is absolutely a possibility that, like the elven kind, they too were created
Uh-huh.
intentionally, but It's hard to say. I was just expounding upon it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was not done by
Our hands.
then they might be what was intended to begin with.
Let's go find out. We'll go to the Sunforge, and then we'll go meet these creatures.
Okay.
Monkey.
To the Sunforge?
Mm-hmm.
To the Forge.
Then you each, as long as they, our two gods here, have your consent to use their power within your domain, then from here you will all activate your runes and travel through the hearth.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you were here for that. That for people to enter, for other gods to enter or utilize their abilities within anyone's prime domain, the owner of that prime domain has to give active permission to do so.
Okay.
Consent is key.
I wave my hand and the drinks disappear. And then there's a little bit of like a shimmer, but it's not like black glitter this time. It's like a bluish glitter shimmer, and then you can use your powers.
Just like a little
Yep.
Tinkerbell moment almost, right? That or like Disney glitter. Yeah. Okay, you can feel your power swell a little bit in this otherwise dampened space. And you're all traveling?
Yep.
Yeah.
Race you there.
As usual.
All right, Marks. Get set. Go.
Oh.
Everybody roll me a god check. An Ishtava check, an Ünen check, an Nevrik check.
I leave last.
it's the cannonball thing again. Right?
Yep.
Like, 1, 2, 3, suck.
Yep. That's pretty good.
26.
22.
I leave
You
last.
live last. Okay, so in short order, 1, 2, 3. The three of you sort of deapparate and become consciousness itself again and rush out of Ishtava's prime domain, bleeding through the metaphysical ceiling and traveling again into the ley lines of the hearth before re-emerging a floor above you from Altarhold into the Sunforge, the reconfiguration of Dami Ino's prime domain. And again, sort of recongealing 1, 2, 3 into the sky of the Sunforge, right? That beautiful, clear blue sky with maybe some slight puffy, like white cloud wisps, with the daytime constellations arcing overhead, these brilliant stars, and the golden field rolling out away with that 600 foot diameter marble altar platform in the center, which you gradually drift down to the southern edge of at the base of the stairs. And you can actually see as you get there that Dami Ino, as you're drifting down, you can see him on the other side of the marble sort of surface, just reclining, lying down in the field, in the field of grain. And as you appear, he sort of gets up and turns over his shoulder and sees you. So you watch him stretch as you're landing and hop back up onto the marble platform. Come over. I didn't expect to see you here so soon.
We had to bring Ystävä.
Yeah. Well, good to see you.
I'm still in my
In
suited form.
Dapper Dan
Yep.
mode.
With my hands in my pockets, and I just lift my chin.
Is this some sort of new fashion from downstairs?
I'm trying it out. You know? Like, seeing...
Right.
I want many forms. I want to keep you all on your toes. Keep our relationships fresh.
I might have to make something. Oh. I might have to make something for myself on those lines, like a robe or something that looks flowy. The armor gets a bit constricting, you know, after the eons roll by.
You lounge around in your armor all the time?
I don't really have much of a choice. It's sort of a part of me.
Interesting. Okay.
I see that. My cloak is a part of me, but I can
Yeah.
shift it. But it's a cloak. So
Right,
I'm
a
like,
bit
I'm
more
freeballing it all
cozy.
the time.
Yeah. Oh. I have to say I wasn't quite expecting that. I don't really know what to say
It's okay, I'm keeping it fresh.
to that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, free balling it. I like that, I think. It would
You
be.
should try it.
Well, I mean, technically, aren't we all free balling it under whatever we're wearing?
I guess that's a personal decision or preference, or like if you feel you're freeballing it, then yes. But if you feel like you're not, then no. You know, like it's up to you to decide for yourself.
I'm going to have to make some improvements, I think.
We got a
Thank you.
emote of inspiration redeemed for Ishtava.
Undeserved.
Thank you. Tales around the tavern fire.
Yeah, you having coined the concept of freeballing, you feel fucking free as a bird right now,
Jesus.
and that freedom inspires you
Great.
for the next chunk of time.
So you know, I haven't had a chance to talk to you a lot, and
No.
I apologize.
Hardly. We're all, doing what we're doing. I don't go most places. This is where you can find me whenever.
Well, if you ever want to stop by my domain, feel free. It's a whale of a
I
time.
might like that. Really? Is that an open invitation?
Yeah.
I'd love to see. I really would. It's not. So, could I maybe have a chat with some of the?
Of course.
You do the whole thing with the
With the
folks.
deads?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to sit and talk.
Yeah. Just let me know when you want to come by, and we'll.
Okay, I'll definitely. So, okay, in return, what can I do for you? I was happy to help our friends here, not moments ago.
Mm-hmm. So you can craft armor, you can craft weapons.
I can make
you can
anything.
craft anything.
I can make concepts. Can make. If you need a certain part of the world to function a certain way, I can see what I can do about creating a emotional structure to have that happen. I make things.
So here's what I want. I want to continue growing our influence down in Regulus.
Aye.
I've started with that, with the settlement, and I can already feel that our power is growing, our influence is growing. I don't know if you can feel that too.
Aye, certainly.
Something to facilitate that, to help with that in some way, shape, or form would be ideal.
Okay.
And I don't know what that looks like.
Now, are you asking to make something that you may bear with you to do that, or something to make and place downstairs to do that almost on its own?
Talk to me more about that.
Well, it will have to come mostly from you in terms of conceiving it. It might take time and the aggregation of ether and other resources, but if you wanted something to take place, to change, I don't know, something could fall to the planet in a sear of heat and light that would make a memory for people and create a story behind something that falls to the planet, or craft a season that is particularly interesting, that make a change of some kind.
I know. It's winter in Regulus. We've just seen the first snow.
Really?
Oh, yes. Come by my place and you can look down at Regulus.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Only for 3 minutes, though, otherwise you'll melt. But, like, you can do it in shifts.
Well, what if melting was an interesting sensation to try?
You know, you could try it.
You never know till you've done. Has a god melted before?
No. Not yet. Not
You
yet.
never know, though. It sounds sometimes like Mum's been through a couple things that she keeps quiet. So if you told me that Mum had gone and melted herself once and then put herself back together, I wouldn't be the most surprised at you.
Uh-huh. I feel that.
Anyway.
God of life and death. God of the cycle. Right? Let's bring things back to life. Let's make a new season. Let's make the season of new beginnings, of like worshiping regrowth and rebirth and fertility and things like
Right. Okay, you're giving me ideas.
Uh-huh.
So, if we're looking to make a permanent change to the cycle of time down there, I'm going to need a couple things from you. It's gonna cost a bundle of ether. I'm not sure how much. Just bring a hefty chunk. And I probably will require the ground from a place where a bunch of things have died.
Oh, cool.
And an object that denizens of the planet hold in high magical regard. Doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter what it is, what regard it's held in magically, but as long as it's held by a large group of people in some kind of magical respect or regard, I'll take that and that seasoned soil.
Okay.
And we'll be able to put something together. I can start the beginnings of it now with whatever ether you have, but for this to really get working, yeah.
I've got 300.
I want to say you probably should have 375.
Oh, from yesterday?
From
last week?
No, just from before. Both of them at 375.
Okay, then I wrote 300, but probably 375. Yeah. I can give you that much. How much more do you need?
It doesn't really matter. Just more,
okay.
To some extent. Some of that, but this can get this underway. And where would you like it to be affecting the whole planet equally, or one particular place?
I want it to move. You know, like wherever winter is, what soon follows is the season of... What should we name the season? What should we name this new time? I'm tempted to name it Ishtava, but that's a little too megalomaniacal. I don't even
So
know
we
how to
on
say
the
that.
nose, isn't it? We do have to make a name for it now. Also, it's not going to be done for a minute.
Okay.
Not till I can get more supplies. And I'll start it just so it's gathering. I'll start it way off the coast.
Okay.
Right, you said it's cold there now?
Yeah.
So we'll let it hang on there for a moment while I work.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll start this way off the back. So if you don't mind, if you could not go too crazy the next time you go down there way deep in the ocean.
Okay.
Like, you're welcome to go. I'm just going to be working. So it's going to be a bit messy. But I'll start it back there, and then when I finish it, we can shift it around and start the turning.
Okay. Fantastic.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay. I'll run you through the same procedure that I've ran through them. I need you to place your hand on the anvil here, on that side, and I need you to think of what this season means. What it means to you and what it's going to mean to them down there. Sort of all that you've just told me and more. And think of that while you're transferring your energy into this.
Okay. I crack my knuckles. And I place my hand on the anvil, and I think... From death, there is life, and hope, and new growth, and new beginnings, and new futures, and the continuation of work. And then I just pour all my energy into the end.
Yeah. I love that. The continuation of work is the final sentiment. As you let your ether spool from you, we're going to spend all of that 375 as it sort of gathers in motes of like crystalline blue light around you before swirling and condensing down your arm as this sort of sheet of light around you and surging into the anvil, mingling with that sphere of liquid metal and the band that strips horizontally across it, turning it into this blue-red magma, as then...
Magma. He's turned off.
I was hoping that maybe we'd forget this time. Maybe we'd just glance
No,
right
the
past
first
it,
thing I hear in my head when the word magma is said is that.
Right. So as this blue-red lava is swirling in the anvil here,
It's a homonym.
Well, I guess like technically it's lava and not magma, because magma is underground, right?
True.
It's lava.
It's lava, liquid metal, liquid heated
There you
metal.
go. There you go.
With some. There is only so much a DM can take before a DM begins to fall apart at the seams like an old tapestry. Everybody, thank your DMs out there. This is the least of it. I could be having it a lot worse, and there are DMs out there right now who are struggling a lot harder than this. They named their city that's something that sounded like pants, or named a city somewhere in the world Dewlock. You know what I mean? There are some DMs who start their stories like the plot of Shrek by accident, and then they never get to live that down. So think fondly of that when you think of your DMs in this
It's
moment.
never an accident.
It wasn't an accident.
It's never.
It was an accident.
His accident.
His accident was starting it as we're speaking about Woody.
His accident was starting the section of the campaign in a swamp and saying to a small group of people that included me,
You can name it.
you can name it.
And you named it Muswamp.
And then what did we go fight?
An
Ogres.
ogre, and one of them, I believe, had a beast companion of some kind. I remember hearing that there was basically Shrek and Donkey in the first
There's
couple.
no way he didn't.
I don't know.
In any case, think fondly of your DMs because this is what they put themselves through. I'll be clear about that.
I mean,
Anyway,
has a proclivity
you
toward naming things
you
in
imbue
sexual
the lava there with your ether as Damino places his hand on the other side of the anvil and holds that sort of. He unsheathes that raw flame that becomes that huge, great warhammer of sunlight that sort of sends its energy upwards into the daytime stars, and that sunlit constellation begins to all connect with strands of energy before searing down from the heavens into this hammer, radiates a beam of starlight and sunlight that again cracks through Dami Ino's visage before he slams it down onto the anvil, sending a pulse of sunlight and flame across the whole prime domain here. And as it sort of washes over you, Ishtava, it sort of swirls around you and intermingles with you and sort of recedes from pure sunlight into flecked starlight and nebula before it seeps down your form and into the ground. And as Dami, sort of deforms the hammer and holsters it again. Okay. His eyes are sort of cloudy a little bit. The work is beginning. We should be good to go, I think.
Thanks,
it's
my
going to be a
friend.
hell of a treat. When you can, get the other materials my way,
You got it.
and we'll have fun.
Vamos a la playa.
Before we go downstairs, there is a question I want to ask you, Ystävä. I was hesitant to ask before.
Am I in trouble?
No.
Oh my god, you were both
Do you really like this form I'm in right now? Is it doing something for you?
You don't have to. No. The little Krana.
Yeah.
Would it be possible, do you think, for me to have a piece of its essence?
Why?
Wasn't it part of the antler?
Yes.
Wasn't that what it was?
It was a piece of any guardian.
I just has dick. He doesn't need it.
Says you. What's that in your jar over there
It's
on the shelf?
it's helpful for forging things.
Forging what?
The binds of passion.
Wait, are you hitting on?
Yeah, what are you?
Oh, that's the name.
You
Of,
hitting on
that's the name of
Ystävä?
my armor.
I
think that's what we named it, right?
Yep, the
Yes.
vestments of passion, or the bindings.
The
of passion.
bindings of passion.
I am not the one to give such a thing. You would have to speak to Krana.
Okay, so I have your permission to do so.
Was that?
Krana is their own being.
But Krana lives within your home.
Was that
Mhm.
Criterion also available for improving mine?
It was different.
Yeah.
There were two different things. The criteria to upgrade once for you required a peak of one of the mountains, and then upgrade to its fullest connection, the third eye of one of the
Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool.
We both did have that third eye.
Well, you have to take somebody's eyeball?
No,
that's
it's
fucked up.
different.
You
It's
told me
different
I
from-
also had to get a third eye. I wrote that down as well.
No,
that was for a second.
Mistranslated. It's because they're two different requirements for two different things.
Right.
The first for you is going to be the essence of spellcasting.
Right.
Or like the essence of magic of any kind, whether from a cast spell or the realm of magic or whatever it is. And to upgrade a second time, it's the peace
of the guardian.
Okay. And for you, it's mountain peak second time, or deeper connection rather. The eye.
Yeah.
They are
You
definitely.
had first said the eye thing to him though.
Yeah. I got that backwards.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
I think I was
So I don't
describing
need
at the
that
time both sets of upgrade
Gotcha.
materials. For you.
Understood.
Yeah. One is for the vestments, another is for items, and there is a whole separate set for concepts.
Dope.
Each concept requires like a unique thing.
Cool.
So you have to take somebody's eyeball, and you have to take a piece of my boy?
Yes, but
My boy.
I don't think it'll be harmful. As long as it's willingly given. I don't mean to take it by force.
There are also other guardians.
There are, but this was the easiest route.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're welcome to go to my domain and talk to Krana, or Krana can come down to Regulus and talk to you there.
Yeah,
But it's not my decision.
Absolutely, just wanted to make sure it was okay.
Mm-hmm. You have to steal somebody's eyeball, you sick fuck.
It sounds fun though. I can help if you need.
That's what I imagine it sounds like. Haven't taken anybody's eyeball out yet. I wink at Nevrik.
I didn't plan on. I didn't plan on taking one from a
living
healthy individual.
So you're gonna kick somebody while they're down?
No.
Take their eye.
We can.
On the brink of death, they will no longer need it.
That's fair.
So do you intend to bring them to the brink of death, or are they already there?
We'll find out.
They're all in many ways on the brink of death.
I guess you're right.
Keep the
What is death,
relationship
really?
fresh.
I guess you could tell me that.
Well, that's Midnight's purview. I know when they're
right.
dead. I don't know necessarily when they're dying.
Understood.
Don't know where Midnight is right now, but I've heard he's really into the sea right now. All the things that are drowning.
I'm on a boat, motherfucker.
Let's
go downstairs.
Yes.
Okay.
And off to the west.
Yes.
Go with you.
Off to the west. So, just to sort of expedite things for a moment, the idea is you're all going to travel down to the world beacon, and then, or you can honestly even sort of. Never mind. Travel down to the world beacon and then use it to head to somewhere on the western part of the continent. Are you aiming for the seaboard itself, or are you aiming for somewhere in the middle of the western terrain?
What did Vikestar show us?
He showed you a. Well,
Bunch of faces.
he showed you faces for the most
Faces.
part, and he told you of a place in the west.
Can we try and aim for that place?
Just go straight there.
Yeah.
A little
Okay.
bit outside of
You're
town.
heading directly for the
not
peninsula.
in like the center of it or anything, but like right outside.
So you perhaps, since the place he informed you of was this settlement on the peninsula, you're looking for either basically on the coastline away from the peninsula or on the peninsula itself somewhere.
The coastline sounds far enough removed to where we don't just drop in.
We should seem as though we are travelers.
Yeah.
To the Elvins, there was already a sense of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
To these humans, it is likely wise that we should stay as anonymous as possible.
So no dramatics.
No dramatics.
Can I let grass grow under my feet still?
Let's see what they can do first,
Okay.
so we know what's not weird and what is.
Would you classify that as dramatic?
I would classify it as flair.
I don't know if I'm not familiar with the concept of synonyms yet. But
you know the
do
word.
You know the word synonym.
I do know synonym.
Synonym.
Help us. Please, somebody, send me assistance. Okay. To the world beacon, to the coastline off the peninsula.
Yes.
You sounds like you had a thought.
Nope, I'm just trying to think of what form I'm gonna assume. This is
Okay.
just my wheels
Well,
turning.
you're gonna have time because basically you guys access your runes within the Sunforge as Dami is sort of like cloudy-eyed, hunched over the anvil, clearly thinking of somewhere distant, not quite present. You all become energy again. You travel down to the world beacon, that basin, the stone basin room with the crystal and the spotlight drifting from it. Again, an empty room. No one in here. Aldwin's not in here. Kirahan's not in here. And you take to the light of the world beacon, thinking of the western coast and the peninsula, and you halfway become energy as you shoot as light and heat and sound down across space through the void between towards the Pangeatic continent of Regulus Prime. And after we come back from the break, which we're about to go on, I'm going to need from you your collective passive perception.
Ooh.
So think about, you guys know what forms you're taking, your regular Elven, Urken forms, Elvenan forms, and you have to decide what form you're taking. But other than that, I need the collective score. Okay? So that's where we'll be coming back to, is the transit to Regulus. Let's say just about 15 minutes-ish.
See you back in.
Get a snack, get a drink, be well. We'll be back.
Team, yeah. We'll be right back.
My name is Aurelius Zeff, the protector of Banon, a small whaling village on an island off the coast. I lived my life as anyone should. I cared for my friends, loved my family, forgave my rivals, and built a home to be proud of, a home worth protecting. One day, when I was out whaling, the weather was foul, and the gods' whims must have been wrathful that day, for they sent a wave, bigger than the tallest mountain on Banon, straight towards the tiny island, to seemingly wipe it off the face of existence. In an act of desperation, I turned my small boat and headed straight on for the wave. I wasn't driven by rage, or the lust for glory, or the pride of trying to best a divine being's whim. I was driven by the deepest feeling someone could have. Love. Love for my home. Those rivals I forgave. The friends I cherished. And the family I raised. For they all would surely perish under this Armageddon. So I gripped my harpoon, and I sailed directly into this beast of a wave, and gave up everything I am to protect this beautiful, insignificant village. I gave up my body and the strength that I built my home with. And I gave up the memories of my life, my friends, my family. They all became strangers passing in my dreams. I gave up everything, down to my soul, and to spare this island and to stop that beast from taking it away. And now, as the shepherdess takes me, I can only hope that my sacrifice is enough for the unfeeling gods to notice and spare this small village. This small, insignificant village. My name is Aurelius Zeff. I am a mortal, and I am no more.
The rebel child Sindar sought to control and shape the primal passion that flowed throughout the universe. The other gods had no control over this passion and its overwhelming force, leading to many godly disputes. So, Sindar took this passion, shaped it into emotion, and created her son to rule over them. He was called Nevrik. Sindar charged Nevrik with the power of passion, separating it into 5 base emotions: love, fear, anger, joy, and sadness. Each of these emotions were tied to 5 elements: the immovable earth, the flowing water, the burning fire, the fleeting air, and the striking lightning. Each of these elements came together to form Nevrik's home, the catalyst of all emotion. And Nevrik was the key to unlocking all incorporeal sensation in the universe.
And so came midnight, lost in the stars of the fallen people of his world. As a mortal, Midnight was around in the early ages of his land, and was a part of the few that were at the beginning. Midnight's parents were the first to die, leaving Midnight in a state that would lead him to godship, the exploration of death, hoping that he could see his parents again, while also to be the god that understood what took his parents from him: death itself. Midnight is there to research, study, and ponder what the moment of death will bring to everyone. A worker with all the gods, but closely with Ishtava, leading you through the moment of death and handing you off to Ishtava for the afterlife. On the journey of life, Midnight comes when you least expect it. It watches how you make every decision to your last breath. Looking over every soul that reaches death, Midnight takes a moment to care for what you have done, what choices you have made, and what has brought you to your final breath. And with that final breath of life you take, Midnight will come.
During the birth of Regulus, Uro created with it a messenger who would meet with the Crucible and assist them with the maintenance of this blossoming new reality. I am Ünen, herald of Uro and god of force, In the beginning, my work was primarily with Kirin, assisting with the creation of the elves. Since then, I have continued my mission to help this universe grow, and help the gods as they govern it, forever maintaining the vision that Uro had for his creation, and serving as linchpin for the forces of nature in order to maintain equilibrium.
Welcome. Don't be afraid. There's no reason to be. Let me start with telling you a story. Maybe that would make you more comfortable. But please, you're safe. This story is about the first person who died. So, when the first mortal perished, no place had yet to be created for the dead, except for the god sleep. This mortal came to the sepulchre of the gods alone and with no means to return to the worlds of the living. It was not a place for them. Yet, unfortunately, they were there because there was no other place for them to go. Fearing an eternity of nothingness, or worse, being discovered by a not-so-forgiving god, the mortal tore into the ether, desperate to escape. The ether tore back, filling the mortal with the vast potential that Uro gave existence. All that was before, and all that would come to be, ripped through the very essence of the mortal's mind and body. But the mortal's will was strong. So strong that once soul and vessel had been consumed by the void, their will remained. From the ether, something began to stitch itself together. The very fabric of the universe, combined with the mortal will to endure, weaved a new being. A friendly face to meet at the edge of eternity. A shepherd to guide souls from what was to what will be. The new god, imbued with the spark the mortal left behind, fashioned a name for themselves. Ishtava. Ishtava carved out a piece of the god sleep for the perished mortals, for you. Ishtava made it for them to come for a final rest, or to be reborn into the next cycle. And while this creation seems very mystical, some focus on the peace and the comfort the god of the afterlife provides. Others fear the great unknown, which I don't blame them. Unknowns are scary, but a very select few believe there might just be something more to be discovered, even beyond the veil. Maybe one day we'll find out. Welcome to the afterlife. My name is Ystävä.
we are back! Welcome back from break to Bards of New York. I hope you've got a snack. I hope you've got a tasty, refreshing beverage. And we are going to get into this by going over some chat questions, which I absolutely forgot to introduce before the break. I think we have, 3 of them?
Yes.
3 questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Number one.
Our first question is from BioWare Babe.
Okay.
The question is, how far into the world of Regulus, timeline-wise, do you think you'll get before you start with Season 2 of the other campaign?
Right. Okay. It's a great question, and actually it's entirely dependent on you guys, for the most part, because if you start, with these long rests heading back to the hearth, if you start being more precise about the way you control your travel, you could be only losing a few years at a time if you wanted to. But if you want to, it depends on how spicy you want to get. We already saw you had one long rest that was 500 years long, so we could get quite considerably into the timeline quite quickly. It just depends on A, how effective you are at controlling the speed at which the world moves, and B, how precise you want to be about controlling how quickly the world moves, basically.
I guess we could sleep in and be like, let 3,000 years pass.
Yeah, we're gonna put autopilot on and slumber for 10,000 years and see what the world looks like.
Just click sim.
Yeah, and that's part of the beauty of it is it's like Crusader Kings 3, right? You make a bunch of decisions and you press play and fast forward times 3, and then suddenly you start getting pinged with messages about incestual divorce,
that game.
And there is a galactic equivalent of that, depending on what you choose to do. So I think it is, we could get very far, we could not get far at all. The way we're going, I have an idea of where we'll probably end up before Woody makes his triumphant return and we check back in on Cordia. But it's actually way more mutable than you might otherwise expect.
Dope.
Brilliant. Okay. Question 2.
Question 2 is from What Am I Doing? What are you most afraid of?
Okay. Well, if I'm going to answer this, everyone's answering it.
Are we answering it
in
regards to this campaign?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Let's say yes.
Let's set the rules.
Otherwise, it's tornadoes and zombies.
Great. I guess both.
In that
I
order?
guess it's
I
both
guess now it's both. You
Now
put
it's
them
both.
out there, so we can't leave you alone out there.
Oh my god, the new to sci-fi Zombie-nado.
Zomnado.
Oh no.
How's
I've seen that movie.
Just
That sounds awful, actually.
I mean, for me personally, I think I'm gonna go with a fairly well-known answer, and it's really deep water. Less because of how of lack of ability to swim, and more about we don't know. We don't know what's going on down there.
I have the same exact fear.
Yeah, thalassophobia.
And when I
it
ever
sucks.
see a movie or something where the characters are going under that really
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
that shit really gets me. I can't do it.
I'm fucked up with the sponge holes too.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
I can't deal with
called
that.
something. I can't remember.
Trypophobia.
Yeah.
Or the frog.
I'm not
the
a
frog
fan.
that lays eggs on the back. I'm out. Tap out. Done. Finished.
Wow.
Real person fear, and then we'll do fears of the campaign.
Come
on.
I don't want to go
Philosophy
first.
major.
You didn't go first.
Did everyone
do
go?
your real person fear first.
That's
The Wrath of Rachel.
Yes, of course. I mean, fear. I'm afraid of creepy crawlies.
Leggies.
Those leggy
Many
dogs.
leggies.
Anything that can be on.
Those house centipedes with the legs that bend at funny angles.
There are only 2 insects I'm afraid of, and that is one of them.
Any insect that turns to dust when you hit it isn't right.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe in that.
It's truly a demon or something, because... No, thank you.
All right. What's Nevrik afraid of?
Nevrik's afraid of La.
That's
Checks
fair.
out.
That's
Checks
fair.
out.
He has a deep-seated fear.
I don't think Ünen has fear.
Not yet. Nevrik will fix that for you.
Perhaps, yes.
Ishtava's afraid that they will never be able to truly connect with somebody because, like they don't really know what their true self is because nobody ever sees them as such.
That is called dissociative identity disorder. Pretty on the line.
Yep.
Tracks, really tracks. I will go with Kirahan here, since it's who we've mostly been chilling with. Kirahan is terrified that as he's currently able to read the past with precision through the Tome of Origin, he is terrified of being able to predict the future.
Wow. Okay. Good answer. Good answer. I like that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Thank you. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Oh, and Ava is afraid of
I keep shutting it.
her Uncle Drew walking out of this apartment.
Being out of sightline for 6 seconds or more.
She loses her shit.
And then last question.
The final question is from Hannah Minshew, our very own. If Hannah Minshew wants to throw it out there.
Very important question. How would you fare in 1v1 hand-to-hand combat with each of your players? You may choose to include Dan and Woody if you want. And Ava.
Okay, well this is great. Well, Ava, I'm getting no diffed. I'm getting clapped.
Yeah, I'm getting clapped by Ava too.
That's not even a question. That's an end of combat. Starting with the three of you guys, I think, Drew, it's going to depend on the day. We've both been going to the same dojo. It's really, it's going to be who did the stretches first, right?
And who remembers the forms.
Like, who remembers the forms? I'm misstepping for sure, so that's a moment to moment. Hannah, again, I think it's a really... That's going to be a toss-up depending on who wants it more, basically, in the moment.
It's going to turn into a slap.
Yeah, it's gonna get really, really childish really, really quickly. Like, quicker than I think I even expect. That's what I'll say for that. Kyle, I'm just not sure. Again, I think it depends on what the nature is. If we're going by Reddit who would win rules, and we're both bloodlusted and completely otherwise goalless.
Bloodlusted and goalless. It's on my Tinder profile.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. It depends on what's at stake in that fight. And then for Dan and Woody, I'm gonna say it as plain as I can probably say it. I'm gonna fold Dan.
I think you're gonna fold Dan. I think you're gonna clap his ass.
Woody in the chat has said Dan is getting bodied.
I'm glad everyone's in agreement. Dan, I love you, but it's just the truth of the matter. I feel certain in that. And Woody, I actually feel fairly confident that, despite the fact that I feel like I would know how to take Woody down, I feel like Woody is better at diffusing me than I would be at defeating him.
You know what that would be like? It's Hisoka, Woody.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something like
it's like just like not.
You could go in and
go for it, but it's exactly. I'm gonna get outdone in the worst way.
And we've entered Weed Corner.
Exactly.
Woody would definitely, if you get too close to him, he would then win.
Yeah,
I thought about this.
Yeah.
I have thought about this before because we used to live together, and I was like, "What if I fought?"
you made a mistake getting close range.
I was just like, "I'm all right." And also, we had talked. I'm not just plotting your demise, Woody, but I would definitely have to focus very much on like.
Woody said sussy.
Some kick.
What do you mean?
You know what you do? He hates the little pain. He hates the hair pulling and the pinching and like the poking with fingernails. Game off for him. That's how you beat him.
My money's on you against Woody,
I lose because he try a lizard spit. That's why. That's what I mean by such.
Yeah. He do something like unexpected and just like uncomfortable.
It's like
it's like I have no defense for that.
Strips down completely.
Literally, and I'd be like,
built my stats correctly, and it didn't even matter. He's gonna do something.
You can't fight a naked man.
Exactly.
You just can't.
You know when you're playing like one of those games, it's like Halo or something, and you've got a team full of people in the edgiest skins imaginable, and one dude in like PJs with a bunny hat, and you just know that fucker is the dangerous
tryhard. That's the one who's getting you.
One. Yeah, that's where Woody lives in. It's like, what the fuck is happening right now? What's going on? So that was a great train wreck of a conversation that we just went on.
Good.
We have to go down to Regulus.
Our golf with friends days.
Oh my god!
Wow.
We should do. I know we don't do those very often, and I think it's good that we don't. But I would love to do one every like now and then, like maybe a couple months from now, like maybe just like throw in a Saturday.
Bards golf with friends stream.
Because that was absurd.
Love it.
It was absurd to do that.
Golf with Bards.
Golf with Bards.
Bards.
Right. So getting us slightly back on track for a little bit more, we have to come back to Regulus Prime as the three of you descend through the world beacon towards it. Now, before the break, I asked you to present me with your cumulative passive perception. So at least let me
currently at 34. What's yours?
Plus 14.
Plus 14.
So it's 48.
48.
I believe, and we can redo the math, but that was my quick.
Okay. This is going to be the back end of the world beacon sort of mechanic, right? As you guys ascend the world beacon back to Regulus, you have to try and exert yourselves over it to control it and control the turn of the planet as you travel. And on the way down, your presence of mind almost becomes one as you become more energy than form traveling through. And that is how we're going to basically scan the world for exterior visual changes. You clearly can see it as you travel down. Mm-hmm. And with a 48 on your world beacon perception here, what you guys can notice for the most part are two main changes. And you notice one of them more than the other. And for you, your attention is mostly drawn a little ways off of the western coast of the mainland into the ocean, midways. Still within the ocean that you can see heading like dead on at the planet in this direction. And you can see what is clearly a sizable, visible from the void sized churning in the water. Like a turning, swirling whirlpool of some kind visible from this altitude. And it is drawing your attention in that direction. And again, just flickering that scent of like grass and earth and burning leaves. Just for a moment as your attention is drawn that way. So there's that. And again, it's not like invisible to the two of you. It just doesn't draw you that way. What's the bigger change is focused on the center of the continent. And you can see throughout what lies in the center, the heart wilds, right? The huge forest in the middle. You can see strands of silver fletching out from the center of it, fletching out from around where Heart of God is, these sort of meticulous strands of silvery light almost branching through the woods. And in the north, the sort of tip end of the forest, the portion of which that once had been burnt down, is clearly ridged in some kind of meticulous stone now. Again, you're very high up and moving very, very fast towards a different part of the continent, but this is a change that you notice. And the strands of silver stop before the first ridge of stone begins. And it's unclear whether it's stone trees, stone ground, weird makeshift pillars or mountains of some kinds, but the terrain has changed up in the north of the Heart Wilds considerably. And of course throughout the Heart Wild as well, if we're counting these strands of silver. Further inspection, of course, will take further effort as you are hurtling down. But those are the primary things you see as you plummet towards the planet. And as the closer you get, the more expanded the western side of the continent becomes as you thrum down through the atmosphere before sort of spooling and unspooling and recongealing back into the three realm-walking forms of Nevrik, Ünen, and Ishtava on a beach, basically. And I'm not talking like dunes of sand or anything. I'm talking a small strip of sand and rock with some scrubby grassland around you. The sky is mostly overcast and grey, maybe a hint of blue through some of the particularly thin wisps of clouds, but mostly overcast and bright. The waves gently churning out ahead of you, with the wind in the grass behind you, some plainsland or grassland fairly, again, unkempt. And not too far in the distance, off of the shore in the water, you can see the ridges of not just islands, but what look like, if you squint, buildings in the distance on this cluster of islands out off the coast. But the three of you are here. The blue-skinned Urken, wings concealed. The very, very pale Elven, right? The ostensibly dark elf,
yes,
yet to be spread. And what form do you take, Ishtava, as your realm walker at this moment?
I have a question.
Please.
Do I have any sense of what these humans look like?
Yes. You more than anyone else, for sure.
Cool. Then, I am going to take a new form.
Please.
So I have like 3 Ishtava forms so far. I need to keep a list.
It's like the Kel's coat, right?
Yep.
You have there are specific. Please.
This form is a tall, like 6 feet, like tall woman with dark skin, like Amazonian like stature with like lithe muscles and long dark hair, and where when you like glimpse Ystävä under the cloak when they're not like the form that you would see for yourselves, you often see like what like the cosmos would look like in human form.
Right.
Like so like in this their hair are like strands of like starlight that kind of weave through, you know, like in Stardust. You haven't seen this Stardust when they when the witch turns young again and then her hair has like
You've actually mentioned this before.
Yes, Michelle Pfeiffer. So she's got the sparkly Michelle Pfeiffer hair.
I can picture it.
But it's like dark and beautiful, and she stands very tall. And she's in that cloak again, but the cloak is rough spun.
Sure, more like a warrior's traveler's cloak almost, than giving me very, very much early Cassandra from Odyssey, right? That kind of like I'm a stoic traveler, but I know what I'm fucking doing, right? Yeah, love it. Okay. So again, quite striking as well. Very much a bolder, more grounded look than the crone, right? That taking your space as opposed to hunching up.
I whisper, I'm gonna be a legend in so many different ways.
Ünen this time has a, in order to have like some sort of anonymity, has a cloak that can like be a little bit more like hiding of features, and it is like jet black.
Ooh.
Okay.
Like it is like negative color.
Like if you look, you know, like those blue Christmas lights that you look at and they hurt your eyes. Is it like that? Like you look at it and you're like, ugh. Is that just
like
me?
bright LEDs. Yeah. I don't typically find myself staring down Christmas lights, but maybe that's just a me thing.
You should try it.
You didn't really sell it that well, so I think I'm gonna be okay.
The armor that Nevrik has just got, he's gonna turn off the lights, you know. The light
just,
show
like, looks chill.
And it's just like the obsidian black look, but like Nevrik's a little flashy.
Yeah.
He's got like a white cape. It's not.
You know when you're like, there's one particular fashion house that when they do their fashion shows, it makes them all kind of look like modern day Jedis a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, that's sort of what you give me of like, is this high fashion or is this like Jedi Knight?
Exactly.
Not quite sure. Maybe both.
Let's call it High Republic.
Exactly. High Republic. Great. Okay.
Coming to Disney Plus.
So you've arrived here looking swanky, looking fresh, all of you looking different, some more than others. And as you can hear the wind, you hear somebody call out to you to your right, down the beach somewheres. You hear this voice call out in Elven initially across the sands. Excuse me, are you lost? Have you found your place? And then again, before you can even respond, now in common. You three, do you need help?
Yes.
And you turn down the beach to respond to that. I'm sure.
Yes,
you can see like,
Absolutely.
a few. Yes. Just like
Ünen took one improv class.
and that's it. That's all you took from it is a single phrase.
Hey.
Yeah, this person calling to you is down the beach like 100 or so feet, not on the like little sandy strip, but a bit further moved onto the grass. and clearly has something that looks like a semi-permanent tent. It's like a fairly spacious square tent, but posted on 4 like large wooden stakes, as opposed to anything more removable. And there's a little like hitch there outside the tent, onto which a fairly sizable brown furred deer with like large white antlers is tethered. And this person standing there, sort of waving at you and calling at you, looks to be some kind of an elven, an elven, like a proper angular elf there, in these illustrious blue and gold robes. And they're like beckoning you this way towards them.
Let's be cool. We're not gods yet. Let's be chill. Let's go.
I'm always chill.
Uh-huh.
Before, as you guys start walking away, Ünen is looking down and seems like there's a look of like concern and focus on his face. And he slowly sets foot on the ground.
I just got chills.
And imitates walking.
Oh.
And that's where we're gonna end this. No, okay.
Black it out.
Yeah, for the first time in the entire campaign, as Ünen, you touch ground, you touch grass, and you sort of like very slowly, very tentatively waddle and walk forward. And you, as you're watching Ünen do this, just the act of Ünen attempting to walk, they don't look anything like themselves. It's almost like the Clark Kent Superman thing, right? Nothing has really changed, but the act and the demeanor of walking makes it almost imperceivable that they're the same person.
I've taken my first steps.
You've done well.
Like a baby.
Uh-huh.
Do you not understand the joke?
No.
I did.
I'm just in awe of your feet.
I thought it would be a good idea.
No, it's great. It's great. It's wonderful.
I'm not enjoying it.
No, it's great. I'm enjoying it immensely.
What does the ground feel like?
What does the ground feel like?
Do the toe thing with sand.
I think at the moment for you, I can only describe it, you know when you've been sitting on your leg a really long time and then you get that horrific pins and needles and anytime you touch anything, it's that shockwave of pins and needles. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that. Mm-hmm. It's really unreliable. The terrain is not even. You feel like it should be fixed a little bit. Like it isn't quite up to your standards and it feels a little strange.
Got it.
Cement. Do you like cement?
I would also say that Ünen hadn't set foot yet because out of like a reverence for
I
the
completely
planet.
see that, and that almost that will not at all change my answer of I think maybe it's even surprising then that it feel like it isn't quite right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot going on. We can continue.
All right. Onward. Not gods. Not gods. Not gods. I just keep murmuring.
Not gods. Not gods. Can I get a performance check from the three of you, please?
How doth one perform immortality?
Good thing I'm not proficient.
Lucky number 13.
13, okay.
21.
13, 21.
31.
Okay, you got
flip that 13 around. Okay,
you got almost as much as the two of them put together.
Literally.
That's That's okay. Yeah. You met the threshold. Threshold was 60, and you hit 65. So that's where it is.
Thank you so much.
So
it was my.
But yeah,
not gods.
Ünen still looks like a dog that you put shoes on.
Sure, but you just like.
Would you like me to demonstrate with Ava?
Yes.
You look like a person who is having that same trouble, right? So the three of you slowly approach up the strip of this beach, heading presumably northwards up the beach towards this figure. And
thank you for the donation, James Minshew.
who the hell is James Minshew?
The fuck is James Minshew?
What the
we
fuck
should
is
say
James?
thank you to Vixstraws for the donation as well earlier in the stream.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I was
Very
looking
kind.
at
Exceptionally
nothing, no
kind.
Thanks for
camera.
showing us your tips.
Show us your tits.
So you walk up the beach and you see closer that this is somebody.
Sorry, we're
I'm gonna really need for that to not happen again. For my own mental health, you're gonna have to cut that shit. Okay?
What if Unen's also going for like a voice to
go for whatever your Ünen human is. It does make my dick shrivel, just so we're all clear.
Wait.
Human?
Human.
We got Ünen, we got Tumen, we got
Tunen,
Frunen.
Brunen, and Human.
If anyone wants to donate me the Uber home so I can get home and get out of here right now, that'd be. Anyway, the three of you head up the beach, and this person, again quite tall in typical Elven fashion, those familiar blue and gold robes. Again, as you get closer, you can see them sort of like looking down at you, kind of like this, and their face is overshadowed by the little like gilded antler circlet they have around their forehead. They look sort of wizened for an elf, for an elven, like a little more leathery set to the skin, sallow eyes, sort of imperious outlook to them as you sort of waddle the strange sight of the three of you. Again, in that common. You don't look like you are from around these parts.
You.
No, we're not. But we're looking for a settlement nearby.
Do you mean them there? He points over to the peninsula out in the water.
Yes.
You don't have to talk to us like we're children.
Well, do you speak the tongue of the land? He slips back into Elven again. Is it perhaps easier to talk to you in our tongue?
Our tongue, yes.
You are a strange group of individuals, I must say. You have not been around here before. You are first traveling here.
We're from a place far away to the east.
To the east?
Past Heart of God.
You live amongst the moving rocks. I find that hard to believe.
Well, believe it, because it's true.
Have you ever
Roll me a
heard
deception check. Roll me a deception check. Hang on.
Nice.
What was it?
30.
Moving rocks. Got it.
This is...
Perhaps that would count for your strangeness. I have not seen those, especially those among our kind who live amongst these places. What brings you here? To the cold divide, as he gestures towards the greater ocean.
Well, I believe what we mean to say is we traveled east. And now have traveled here.
That still doesn't quite answer my question as to why you have come here.
No,
We are but travelers. We travel.
We're looking to explore and to learn the world and to learn more about the world.
We are scholars, if you will.
Do you live on the beach?
No, I do not live here.
Where do you live?
How do you not...
Do you live in the settlement?
I live in Üstevenan, thank you. As you should well know, it's where we all Nevrisil are centered. I merely have come here to do business. I've been doing business here for many, many seasons, and I will not have you doing any infringement upon my market here.
Tamsin is my friend.
Tamsin, how do you...
He's a friend of mine.
We get around.
We are travelers, I told you.
I also find it interesting that when asked why you were here, you seemed upset and insulted. even though that is what you did when we arrived.
Well, you have to understand that this is my beat, as it were. This is where I have laid claim to these people for some time, and it is a little unnerving to have others of...
You can finish what you're saying and then I'll...
Well, clearly it is something important.
When you say lay claim, what do you mean to these people?
You might not understand. It is something that we of the older blood are more inclined to do, is give benefit to those who are needing of it, to bequeath them with knowledge and wares that they might not have access to. And these are a simple people in Brighthorn. They are a good people, a devout people, but they are wanting of culture, of worldly culture. And I, as is our duty to the Nevrik, I have staked my claim here, and it is my responsibility to return here every few weeks or so to impart passage to the good folks of Brighthorn Isle and do my business with them, as I have done for generations in their time.
We don't intend to encroach upon your business. We're just here as travelers to learn and understand this other people.
Well, I am happy to oblige. It is only my duty as a scout and a path maker, a charter of sorts, a navigator of life. I am happy to do such a thing for you. I will say...
Can I insight check this fucker?
I will also
insight check on...
What a schmuck.
On, is he as important as he thinks?
Okay.
Like, is this bravado?
How much is he tugging on
justified?
himself? Yeah, okay. Roll me an insight check.
As he does that, I also... Because Nevrik has a slight ego.
Have you rolled for your emotion today?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I rolled a 6, so I get to choose.
The emotion is fuck around and find out.
17.
17. You can tell that this individual, this Nevrik, definitely believes what they are doing is important. They feel like the clearly whatever wind they're gassing themselves up with here is justified to them.
Cool.
What's your name, friend?
Thank you, kind traveler. My name is Illreaad. As I said, I am a well-known member of the Nevrik and have been for some time. And I do my work to spread the influence of the old blood through trade and conversation. I was shortly going to make passage over the water towards Brighthorn, but I will have to do so quite quickly. You don't want to be in the island when the sun goes down, really.
What happens when the sun goes down?
Well, they are a provincial people, and they have not managed to tame their more magical instincts. Some of them more things are drawn to the town at night, and it's a fascinating sight from afar, but it is not one that I have any interest in being around for and trying to stay under a solid roof for. I have my lodgings right here, thank you very much. I'm happy to ferry you in, and I'm happy to ferry you back when I leave later this evening, but we'll need to make it quite quick.
Let's go. I'm sorry, I'm an assistant to these two, so I'll let them decide, but I would love to go and see my people.
It's no great shakes to me, though I will, of course, as is my duty and business, have to charge you the toll. I'm not going to just render my services for free, as it is a dangerous venture.
Hearing this, Nevrik's already a little annoyed with this. Nevrik is going to walk up to... What was his name?
Illreaad.
Illreaad. He's going to walk up to Illreaad.
His name is unimportant.
Unimportant. And he's just going to place his hand on his shoulder and look at him and just let a little bit of his power, resonate.
It's great.
Okay.
Not gods, not gods.
Can you roll me a quick intimidation check?
Yes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes in.
It took us 3 minutes
18.
18.
to not just flash.
So you get close to him, and he's
Unsuspecting.
at this moment he's a little taller than you, not that much, but he's just like, especially with the little prongs of the antlered circlet, like he has the illusion of height. You lay a hand on him and you just let that energy just sort of seep into you, where you've been restraining it. You let it loose a little bit through your arm, and he like startles a bit. I would I'd very much prefer it if we kept our distance and kept things civil, but perhaps we can work on more of your schedule if it would best fit you. I don't mean to rush. I'm just saying that I have spent a considerable amount of time with people, and I know that time can be of the essence, but no need to.
I understand.
Yes, of course.
No need for a toll. Just take us in.
Yes, I suppose we can.
I did lose the accent.
That's fine.
We can do that.
3 minutes.
If perhaps while I ferry you across the way, you may do me the honor of recounting some of your stories, which I may record. It is again part of my business to discover and share and record certain new pieces of knowledge. And
Oh, I have a great one that I'll tell you on the way.
right,
We go.
to the dinghy then.
Yes.
To the dinghy.
Yes, well, let me just get my supplies. Be one moment. You can make your way to the boat. And he points to the, like, rather ornate wooden, sort of, like, longboat canoe that's sort of beached right here. It's got two, like, each end of the boat sort of pieces up into what look like candelabras on either side of the thing for just a single candle, like a candle holder if it was to light the way at night. But it's a rather well-made boat of some kind of lacquered material. But he dips into the tent briefly. This, again, beautiful blue with slight gold gilding tent.
What'd you do? What'd you do?
I'm sorry.
Let's walk. Let's walk.
I felt belittled.
You're a goat.
I
And you
meant-
felt belittled.
Yes.
I'm still trying to make sure I'm standing.
Just like almost in a squat, right? Like really grounded.
Like, not going to fall, but like might accidentally stop standing and
If
start
I'm slow and
floating.
deliberate, no one will ever know, right? Step.
You're like a sloth.
Step.
Just move and you're on the grass.
But the three of you in this are moving to the boat,
Yes.
or are you doing anything else?
Just doing that.
Yeah.
Just doing that. I don't let flowers grow under my feet, but there's like a little bit of grass poking out from the
Right,
sand.
right. The grass looks a little refreshed.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And maybe suddenly,
It's
I'm ready.
really hard for me not to let
It's
it. It's
just
something that I have to
subtle.
rein in now.
Yeah. So you're walking down to the boat, and it doesn't take too long for you. You can hear the tent flaps rustle behind you as Illreaad comes with this really nice leather like satchel slung over his back, and you can see it's only like 2/3 of the way closed, and bundles of scrolls, some blank, some written, some sealed, some not, are poking out of the top of this, and he's sort of hurdling it. He gives a scritchel on the snout to the deer here, feeds them some kind of treat of some sort. You're a little too far away to tell. Gives them another pat before walking down the beach towards the boat, and he slings the satchel over the top of it. It pulls out the oar from the side of the boat. Right, well, take a seat. It shan't take more than a few minutes to cross the way towards Brighthorn.
You want to?
I just thought of something. Sorry. Does he not recognize me?
No.
Good.
Oh, because of tuning. So he's young. And how old are you? I'm sorry. I'm just. I don't live that long, and so I'm always fascinated by the older folk who live much longer than I do.
Well, it's a bit of an uncouth question, but I have seen my seasons. But one could say that perhaps it is not the seasons that count, but the steps one takes during them. The
You
path
were
one
asked
walks.
a simple question.
I hate this person.
I have just met you. You walked across the dune towards me. I am not going to divulge my entire life towards you.
I just wanted to know how old you are.
That's all.
It is not a fact I feel particularly comfortable sharing, especially with those who are not accustomed to the same length of life.
Are you embarrassed with your age?
What?
I mean, you can't. I'm
Do you
only-
feel young?
I feel that I am in my due time.
That's
Are you
a great
old?
answer.
That is all I feel comfortable answering.
It's okay. You don't have to answer anything you don't feel comfortable. I put my hand on their knee, and I do the Ishtava pat.
The tingle touch.
Yep.
This one's dangerous.
Yeah, because it's on the knee, not the face.
Again, so we had 3 minutes in, we had one display of godhood. 5 minutes, 6 minutes in, display number 2.
This
At
is just
10
like
minutes,
a-
I'm just gonna place my hand on his head and just like crush it.
I'm just doing like,
It's like
like
we
the
weren't meant for this
mom-
world.
When like your mom comes and puts your hand on your shoulder and you're like, like it's that.
Yeah,
I'm not trying
yeah.
to be obvious about my
No,
power.
no.
I'm just trying to like.
Just
calm.
instead of an Ishtava check here, I'll have just a classic persuasion check.
Classic.
Well, that was shit. Aim. 16.
16. You see him settle a little bit. Well, I suppose it is reasonable to be asked such a question and to be so curious, as it were. But I'll have you know it is something of a point of contention. I am perhaps a little younger for my station than some, though I don't look it. I did indeed partake in many festivities in the Heart Wilds in my youth. It is something I would not take back, but it is something that has changed the perception of me one way or another.
The Heart Wilds, is that where that one town is? That special town?
That's been you I forget you are not of our older nature. Yes, indeed, it is where one can make a considerable journey and pilgrimage to in these days. The noble struggle has only increased in its nobility over the few seasons I have been able to visit. Quite the place, though quite a place of, well, needn't bore you. We have places to see, things to visit. Yes, I'm sure you'll reach there on your travels back your way east to the moving rocks. You could stop up north. Far be it from me to tell you where to go. Come, we have to... Do you wish to cast off?
Aye.
And is your intention to return with me before night falls, or...?
We'll see where the night takes us, right?
Play it by ear.
Fair enough. I must ask that you let me do at least the beginning talking to these people. They have been known to bristle at outsiders. I can tell you that from personal experience. But it should be fine. They know me well.
I can't imagine why.
Yes, well, take a seat. Why don't you?
I sit. Beaming.
He gives like a...
I sit, and in Nevrik's eyes, you just see 2 bolts of lightning. And the chosen emotion of today is anger.
It's the flaring of your mother showing
Yeah.
up in you, right? Okay. So, that's fine, it's good timing. Because, as the 3 of you sit down, in varying stages of acceptance, Illreaad gets on, sticks the oar into the sand, and pushes off, and you float into the water. Standing up like a Venetian boatman, digging the oar into the gentle waves as you move out west onto the sea, the cold divide. It There's a little shifting on the water as you go, and the boat is listing from side to side quite heavily. It doesn't feel like he's the best rower here, the best boatman. And the sky is calming and quiet, and even though you can see little patches of blue amidst the overhanging cloud, you can tell that the sky is dimming a little bit. I wouldn't call it sunset or quite dusk yet, but it's in the late stages of the afternoon as you row across. And as the beginnings of little tiny outcroppings of stone and growth from the sea, from sea level begin to protrude as you enter the outlying bits of this peninsula here. It's about a 20-minute journey on this boat. Is there anything you're doing or saying all the while?
So, in your time in Heart Wilds, have you ever heard there was this story that I heard about the crone of the forest, or it was some kind of crone and a firebird bedtime story that my parents used to tell me.
Oh yes, well, it all gets
there any
told
truth
different
to
ways
that?
now. Yes, much is what I mean. One ought to really, if it's something that interests you, I'm sure they would accept a wanderer of renowned interest and the like. Really, they see all sorts there. But the noble struggle is the site of much joy for many of the followers of the old woman of the moon. Its influence is spread quite far and wide. There are it's a whole system sprang up, really. It's why we've been able to achieve so much success in the last few years as we have, is the structure provided from the north down. It has caused some conflict with some of the Scionauts. I mean, that's the whole point, really, isn't it? It's why they moved up and on. But no, neither side can really leave it alone. But yes, the story is well known. Many follow her teachings, and many are given her great blessings. It is how we can allow our lunar knights to keep a considerable amount of order amongst the Heart Wilds. And beyond, really. I'm sure we'll see a retinue here.
Lunar knights?
Indeed. You would know. I would hope, at least. You'd be in so much touch with your own people that you would be aware of their core facets. You know of the Nevrik, of course, yes?
Right.
Sorry, I've never been to what's the Lunar Knights? What is that, and what's the Noble Struggle?
Noble Struggle is the village of which you speak.
Oh.
The settlement. It has become the hub of spiritual dealing within our whole culture, for the most part. Well, it's divided somewhat, of course. I mean, there are some things that you can only choose to devote yourselves to in Heart of God still, and the same is now true of Helathen, of course. The Lunar Knights themselves, well, it is how we maintain order. They are our peacekeepers. That's how they could describe themselves, of course. They mainly do as they see fit. And they tell us that what they see fit is within our best interest. And as far as I have been concerned, it has been true.
That sounds so fascinating. I'll have to go visit.
As I say, we will see some soon, at the very least. They usually will come to check on any well-known member of the Nevrik who has a station such as myself, to make sure each individual visit has been received with some sort of acceptance and gratitude and forward motion. All about forward progress and change. Those Lunar Knights are.
How far out do they spread, the Lunar Knights?
Oh, some ways beyond all edges of the Heart Wilds. They are stopped quite harshly by the Scionauts up north. At the moment, I do see that changing. I hope it changes for the best. But at least on all sides, we have contingents all over. The moving rocks all throughout these grasslands of the young bloods, and to the south as well. Not much to see in the south, of course.
And what do you know of the... Excuse me. What do you know of the leaders of Helathen?
The leaders of Helathen? You're not really asking, are you?
I am.
Why would you have to ask?
We travel so much that news doesn't always reach our ears.
I would suggest perhaps devoting more of your time and thought to the betterment of your own people, as has been dictated.
Well, that is why we travel, to learn.
Of course.
For the betterment, but there is also a lack of communication in traveling, so we miss out on some of the latest and greatest newses.
It is the whole source of the conflict.
What is the conflict?
Well, if you speak of the original leaders of noble struggle, the two twins themselves, the reflections, that is where the strife came. The Lunar Commander, she, in her infinite wisdom and blessed nature, sought to do as the moon commands, as the moon must, spread its gaze. Let the rays of moonlight shine through the canopy. And of course, one was expecting for her brother, the now most questionable Castoral, to take some sort of associative stance, but he, where would he be found? Riding northward beyond the bounds of the wilds into the scorched wastes and becoming something of an accidental beacon for those who would seek to stand fast against the spread of moonlight. All ridiculous, as far as I'm concerned. Whatever master they choose to serve, it is not the one that betters our people to its greatest extent, but is to him, or at least in his direction, that the Cyanots run.
Look, here comes the
Consequence.
It has bled as far down as those who would consider themselves leaders of Uthevenan. Uthevenan, there we go. It has bled that far and caused quite the schism there, if I am to understand, but I really choose to spend very little time within the great tree when I am home.
Who is the leader there?
The Avanuris.
Aye.
The first one. The first scholar himself. Who else would it be?
This Townsend person that you know.
No, I think it's over.
Oh, which do you mean? Of our people in general? It is the first scholar.
The first scholar, who is Tamsin or Uveran?
And he says again, the first scholar, and it kind of translates to, like, the direct translation in Elvish of Viran.
Viran.
Yes.
Our dear Tamsin, founder and leader of the Nevrasil, was interred into the roots some time ago. To Amber they return.
Who's Amber?
First in power.
Amber. They return. To Amber.
Hello, everyone.
He speaks in common again. The hard juice inside the tree.
Oh!
Yes. Amber. Do you know this word, amber?
I do now, thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Telepathically, I say, I'm gonna blow this dude's head off.
Do you say that to us?
Yeah.
Okay. You just shooting it out like.
Honestly, if it was one of the ones with the third eye, I might
You might as well.
Yoink.
How close am I to him?
Where would you have sat? On the front of the boat, middle of the boat, back of the boat? He's all the way in the back.
I had my hand on his leg, so I'm probably close.
Yes, I think she's in the back.
I would have probably sat
Rubbing that.
farthest away.
So you're in the front
of the boat, but like facing it.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to. I don't know if it's possible. The boat's made out of wood, probably, but I just want to touch the side of the boat. Just send a small shock.
You can certainly try. That will be a fat spellcasting check.
Isn't wood like not a conductor?
There's some metal inlay on the boat. I can see how this could happen. Like with some of the detailing on the sides, you'd like reach around and touch it. We'll see.
Enough electricity into it, it will catch fire.
Yeah.
Roll me a spellcasting check.
Please light the bolt on fire. Please.
So I just need to see my modifier. I think
It's just about to like roll overboard and leave.
And drown yourself.
Or no, just like travel underwater.
You're not too
so
far
sorry.
away now.
Like a manta ray.
Yeah.
Stingray.
It's here somewhere. I always forget the.
It's intelligence plus proficiency.
Which is
So proficiency should be 7. Your intelligence was like
5 at least.
Illreaad.
12. So
12?
yeah. Plus what I roll?
Yeah.
17 plus 12.
17 plus, yeah. You sort of just like tap the side of the boat, and it's more a rivulet of heat, honestly, like just like heating up the wood, and it's sort of singeing his foot a little bit, or the side of his leg. And the boat rocks a bit as he sort of recenters himself.
Ünen gives you a
What
look
that was.
of
I don't seem to be quite myself today. Perhaps any more lessons may be best served after we have landed and I have rejuvenated myself through my work. Perhaps.
What a fucking pretentious little twat.
It sounds like he needs to go somewhere and jack off
He
and
needs
then
some
come
fucking-
back.
He needs to be humbled, is what he's.
So as you guys are rowing through these smaller
his legs.
these little islands, remind me that when we finish the session, because we're nearly at the end here, I have a story about that in D&D related.
Okay, thank you.
So
I was like,
it's very similar. We'll get that. So he's rowing you past these smaller little islands and outcroppings of like moss and stone from the water, but you're entering a smaller mass or a denser mass of these little islands, and you can see as you're skimming through that the center to which you're heading is some larger chunks of land, still scattered apart peninsula style, but tethered with like little wooden bridges and things. And you can see basically a conglomeration of buildings. And 2 of them seem to be a little more actually structured. There's a big building in the back end of the central island that seems to be mostly made of stone and earth. And another smaller, almost like dome-like building way off to the right on one of the larger islands that has less stuff on it. But everything else is sort of halfway between a tent and a hut in varying sizes, just like developed, but not very well, right? This looks like some kind of a poorer settlement or a makeshift settlement that is well established. It's clearly been here for a time. You can see like rot from the seawater on some of the bottom ends of the wood here. But it's it's not Heart of God. It's not right. Not even close. Helithan. It's not even. And as you pull in, there's something of a small little dockway coming off of the central aisle with a few small crude fishing boats on it and a couple open spaces. And it's one of these open spaces that this dinghy swings into. And this is when you perceive as a group 2 things sort of at once. First of all, dead center in the middle of this main island that you've just pulled up, and you've got the big building in the back, but in front of it, in the middle, what looks to be like the courtyard of this settlement, of the whole thing, the center of it, is a fairly well-made large statue on a plinth. And whatever is written on the plinth you can't really see from here, but the statue itself clearly was in bronze and has rusted and decayed a bit. It looks shitty and well kept, like not well kept. It's rain, water damage, all that, but it's there. It's of this gilded or once gilded statue of a large, basically minotaur in like leathers and shitty rags, holding up a harpoon in the sky.
Off.
And as you notice that, from the big building, a small conglomeration comes out, led by this really, like this sort of huddled older dude with a long grey beard, as he waddles in these beautiful, like, or what would be beautiful white robes with yellow trim that look like grey and kind of moldy and like just unwashed. And he's got a big long hat this almost square hat with some tassels on it, and the other people are following him as he sort of hobbles up with his wee cane. And he comes all the way around the center of the island, past this Minotaur statue, almost to greet this boat at the docks. And holding up his cane and his other arm, with the people sort of bowing behind him, you can see glinting in the fading clouded light his large, like, pendant, almost, this metal bronze pendant, and this does look very well kept, with the shape of these curving down bull horns. Mm-hmm. And as he sort of gets in his place on the back end of the dock here, as you pull in, he holds up his arms and says, "In the name of the Saint of Sacrifice, once again, we of Brighthorn welcome you to our humble isle." And he looks up and tilts his head, seeing the three of you sitting on the boat. And that's what we'll pick up next week.
Two people on our list we have met.
Okay. Just briefly before we wind down that story, it's one that you can ask Dan about, it's one that you can ask Woody about. It's one of the first campaigns we were ever doing right when we met each other in freshman year of college. We couldn't keep playing with the regular session, so we took the same characters to maybe like get a bonus for the regular session, and we did a bank heist. This is the infamous bank heist where Dan's bird in the game shat all over the bank manager's office to make a distraction. All this, great. Case in point, we end up kidnapping this bank manager, and he's also a smug piece of shit, kind of like Illreaad. Same sort of vibes.
Yeah.
And to get information out of him, we went full murder hobo. We were playing with a kid named Tyler, and in his character creation, this was 3.5e, so you could do whatever you wanted. He had given himself tabs of LSD that nobody really paid attention to, so he drugged this dude, had him tripping out on all his LSD as we dragged him underneath a bridge, broke both his kneecaps with a paddle, took out his teeth and tongue, and left him there.
That sounds about right for freshman year college boys playing D&D.
It was old, none of it was what meant to happen. And I, of course, it was a really ridiculous situation, but you're telling me, like, let's break his legs. Immediately sends me back to, let's smash his knees with the oar,
I mean, that's kind of like what we did to that one dude on the boat during...
Oh, yeah.
During
the
Cordia campaign.
Skeevy wizard.
Yeah, and we just cucked him.
Oh, no, we killed him.
No, I'm just saying, like, we just went...
Out of spite.
I mean, we went full Nightmare Crew on him, but, like...
That's where the name came from.
Yeah. Was doing what we did. Right, guys. Fabulous session today. We are getting into the thick of it. There's something afoot, and you guys are about to step right into it in God knows what ways. I cannot remotely predict what you're about to do to this small little island, but
I really
here
wish
we are.
That Woody was here and his character was here to arrive at this place and experience.
Who's to say he's not already there?
You haven't seen him.
I mean, Woody the person.
Sure.
Oh, right, but...
Yeah, I think, if anything, it would mean more to you guys than it would to Hylan, to be honest.
Yeah, we can find shit out for him.
Yeah.
At the very least, we will come back right here to Brighthorn Isle a week from today. So in the meantime, enjoy yourselves, push yourselves out of your comfort zone, do something that makes you scared, but don't be unsafe. Tell somebody you love them, and stick around for a second because we surely are about to raid the shit out of somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we headed?
Hit that button right there.
Nice.
Let's go to TPK roleplay.
TPK roleplay.
Our good friends over there.
In the name of Valhalla and all that is holy, let's raid the shit out of them. Have a lovely rest of your week, guys. Thank you for stopping in, whether you're watching now or listening later, and we will see you Starside.
Sorry.
Nope, you're good. It's still going.
Okay.
You're fine. You're good.
Cheers, guys.
Dreams
See you next
learning.
week.
And now you're in. And then you're going to go.
Are we still
stream
on?
left? We are, but it's not recording. And go to, you can either end stream or go to the see you next time screen and then end stream.